midnight at least tonight. We might be anyways, but maybe not under those conditions. Okay, so, all right, well, first off, I appreciate you guys coming to this. I know some of you through softball and I don't see too many of the basketball guys here and gals, but had the privilege and opportunity to work with some of the athletes here the last few years, and it's been awesome getting to be a part of UPS. And it's great to always come back because I love this campus, love this school, and student athletes like you I relate with, because when I went to Western, it was the same kind of deal. We certainly weren't there because we were given huge scholarships, we were given grants, and we kind of did it because we loved it, not so much because we were getting paid. And so you guys and I relate with you. It's a grind. You're trying to do sports while studying and doing something at a school like this is no easy task. And so I relate with you. I really understand what you go through, and I commend you for going through it because you're going to come out such a strong person having gone through this. And looking back on my playing career, I honestly don't remember a whole lot about how we did, although we were pretty successful. But I do remember what it felt like to get through it, to get through finals and be able to get through a season and to be able to put that back to back and get through 4 years. It really, really drives you later when you think you can't do stuff. Because if you can get through this, which you will, you can do anything. Because there's no more of a grind ever in your life than going through what you're going to go through now. And there's nothing more rewarding too. So hang in there. Some of you are going to be really tired. And hopefully today's talk will help you with that to a certain extent. So my name is Brett McDaniel. I'm actually a vice principal at an elementary school now. I was 15 years at a high school, being a student's athletic director kind of thing. And took a huge 180 this year and decided to go with a quote here that's going to come up in a second. It's called "Think with the End in Mind." And the end for me was the high school kids. And oftentimes those high school kids, 17, 18 years old, those habits were so ingrained, and most of them negative. When you're dean of students, you're dealing with a lot of kiddos that are dealing with some really tough stuff. And I really didn't have the effect or affect on them that I wanted to. I certainly could help mold them and guide them through the process, but I was really never instrumental in changing their habits. 45% of the habits we have is just on constant, if you will, it's like autopilot. So 45% of the things we do in our life is on autopilot. And anytime you have to tax your brain, like make it think new things or form new habits, that's when you get tired, because your brain is now having to create energy, which it doesn't want to. It wants to be in slow-mo. It wants to kind of just stay in status quo. And when you're dealing with kids with really bad habits, to get them to tax their brain to new habits was really challenging. So the idea of going to an elementary school and working with kiddos that are, still working with some of those challenged kids, but those kids, we have more of an opportunity to change habits. And hopefully with the end in mind, when I see them in high school, if I'm still around to see that, I would hope that those habits now we were able to change for the better so that they can go on and be successful. I hope that makes a little bit of sense. So it's part of the talk today. All right, so the mission's really, really simple today, I promise you. I just want you to be better at everything anyone can do. So there's no like hidden things that are going to come up. You're not going to walk away here and hear something earth-shattering that you probably haven't heard already. But what I hope you can get out of this is that you can see that some of the habits you can form, good and bad, can be fixed and can be added, you can delete, you can reset, and you can get yourself into a really good flow state, which is kind of where we want to be. We'll talk about that. But being better than anything can do, being better than anyone at everything anyone can do is a really cool concept because it relieves you a little bit, because it's not hard. Okay, and so let's talk a little bit about it. So first off, tell the person next to you, what is the finish line for you after 4 years here, or 5 years? What I mean by that is, what do you hope to get out of this deal? Okay, so why are you here essentially? What is the end in mind for you when you graduate from UPS? And if you're by yourself, I'd like you to get to a table, but I'd like you to know, or the person next to you to know, what is it that you hope to get out of this deal? Go. Tell the person next to you. Maybe have an athletic end goal and an academic end goal, but what is the finish line for you? And if you can hear me, snap twice. If you can hear me, clap once. Give the person next to you a high five. And say thank you for sharing your why or your finish line. Okay, so most of you struggled with that activity. Just watching you, it was, the thought of actually talking for some of you was a little bit fearful. But then secondly, trying to all of a sudden think about your end, you might not have thought of that recently because your brains are so focused on the now. So seeing the finish line is what I want you to do right now. It'll make everything a little bit easier. So what is the end for you, all right, for the University of Puget Sound? And for hopefully most of you, it's to do something really cool athletically. Somebody said nationals, and for some of you, you kind of looked around, kind of seeing what the other person said. And then for others of you, it was as simple as just get your degree and get a job. Okay, but what if you look beyond that? What is the finish line 20 years from now, 10 years from now? What would you hope to have accomplished? Okay, and if you break it up in that, it allows you to reset your brain now on the present. And what I mean by that, if you know you want to be 10 years from now, you have this job, you have this vision, all right, you can slowly start to diminish a little anxiety you have now. If you just live in the now constantly without seeing the future and without preparing for your end game, then I think it's going to make for more anxiety for you now. So seeing and kind of believing in what the finish line looks like for you can be very relieving, and it's the first step in terms of getting to your best self. What is the end game for you? So for me, it was really simple. It was a young man that won a state championship. So where this all came, it kind of came in my brain about preparation and visualizing was a kid named Colton Tracy who had, and some of the girls have probably heard this story, and I'll be brief, but there was a young man who had lost 2 state titles in wrestling and was really struggling with getting to win it. So he went both times and lost. And so what he ended up doing was he studied the visualization piece for a while, and he really wanted to write it down and really understand where he wanted to be. So you can't see it real well, but what it says is I'll be a state champion. It has the date and year. Next week, he wrote it 100 times and put it everywhere. Okay, and then he wrote his little poster. And then what he did next was he drew a picture of it too. He was a pretty good artist, you'll see here in a second. But he visualized it as well. And on the right side, you'll see everything's really similar. All right, that picture was drawn a year in advance, okay, before the season started. And if you see him seeing this picture over and over again, allowed him to play it out when it actually happened. And it's kind of creepy and kind of eerie and kind of cool at the same time. But if you really look for details, you'll see mouth open and fingers in the air, on the knees, the whole thing. All right, and it's a really good reminder of how powerful your brains really are. That what you see, what you visualize, and what you can write down is your first step in towards attaining that. And for me, it's not writing down because I'm not very good that way, but I'll put pictures out. I might cut some pictures or put some things away, or maybe it's a motivational picture I'll put next to my thing that reminds me of something, but it's where I want to be in a year. Okay, it's the end game. Where are you headed? So if you know what you want to do, and you say, I want nationals, for example, our girls basketball team, my coach wants to win the state title. So for us, we'll probably have a picture of the state title, we'll put it all over the place. And it doesn't mean that we're not accomplishing it if we don't win the state title, but you want to dream big. Otherwise, it's really, really hard to get up and do the things you're doing right now if you don't have big dreams. Big dreams both career-wise and with your teams. Because you're not getting a ton of money to do this, so there better be something in it that drives you each and every day, or it's going to be really, really difficult to get up if you don't have this end game in mind. Whether it happens or not isn't the important thing. What's important is, do you see it, visualize it, and really, really believe in it? And does the teammate next to you? So it all begins with what I just said, your why. That's why I had you think about it. What is your why for being at UPS? Think about that for a second. Why UPS? You could have chosen other colleges. There was something about this college and campus that drew you here. So what is your why for being here? What is your why for being on this team? Okay, and think deeply about that, because again, that's going to allow you to be free of stressors later, because you're going to continually go back to the why. Why is it here? Hopefully for you, it's to inspire athletes, to inspire teammates. Hopefully part of your why is relationships. That you're going to meet somebody here that's going to be one of your best friends for life. Hopefully your why has something to do with like going through tough times so you can come out better. Going through adversity so you can get through adversity so you know how to do it. Hopefully your why has a lot of those components in it. And hopefully your why is to get a degree, to get a job, to then go out and do what it is you've been chosen to do, or what you really started this journey for. And some of you want to be doctors, some of you want to be in math, or whatever it looks like, but you kind of always come back to that, or nothing will happen. So this quote's really cool. He who has a why can live in barrels anyhow. So if your why is compelled and it's strong enough, and I want you to keep thinking about that, if your why is really compelling to you, then all the how and the what's will become easier for you. And in leadership, as a vice principal, one of our biggest frustrations is everyone tells us, oh, you teachers need to have your why. Well, every teacher can tell their why. They want to inspire kids. They want to help kids reach their goal, potential, and see the best in themselves. Almost every teacher I meet is that. But you know where they get stuck is, their why isn't really what they believe in. It's just they think they need to say that. And then their how and what gets in their way. Well, I really want to inspire, but not today because I'm tired. Or this kid's a pain in the ass, so I'm not going to worry about that. You know, and they start making excuses. I have negative teachers in my building. I have to deal with it every day. And it's because they don't really understand their why. They say they do, but they really don't. Because if they did, they would come every day to school positive. And know that those 22 kids need that teacher bad. And just because they don't like you, because you're the problem child, right? You're the one that, so instead I come to class and I'm old Eeyore, because you're in my class, those 21 other kids are just done. Because all I care about is that you're in my class and you're making my life a little more challenging. And it's so true, you guys. And you have teammates like that. You have teammates that get in the way of your how or your what because your whys are so different. And you never really talk about your whys as a team. You guys gotta know your whys. Your team has to know their why so that you can get through the how and the what, because otherwise this world will get in the way. And this world is a fun world, right? You remember this world when you were first little kids and you had dreams? And then you went off and you fought through peer pressure. Still fighting off peer pressure. You fought off all the gossiping when you were an 8th grader and you went to the high school for the first time. Some of you had to deal with that. Maybe you're still dealing with that. But you got through the coaches that have yelled at you or tormented you through certain times. You got through the midnight, all right, staying up late. You got through the bad test. Some of you probably, maybe some of you haven't. You're UPS students. Maybe you never had that. Okay, but you probably have. If you haven't, you're probably going to get one before you leave this campus. And you got here, and you're close to this. Those careers that you envision. And then for some of you, that family you envision. This perfect little life, right? It all started here, and it's kind of this merry-go-round, and then of course you're dealing with all that stuff in the middle. Your alter ego, right? Some people have 2 images, the one that's real, and then their online image, Snapchatting, or whatever it might be. And that's a really difficult thing to navigate as well. It gets in the way of your why. So how do you navigate this challenging world, get the things you want, get to the career you want, maybe have the family you want? The key, and this is so critical to you guys, is finding your flow. Everyone say it with me on 3. Finding your flow. 1, 2, 3. Finding your flow. You hear it. You've probably heard that statement before, but it is so stinking true. Flow, and I know this with the softball girls, we can talk about this. You guys can relate to this. Sometimes on a team, you are bored. Sometimes practice is boring. Okay? And the reason it's boring is because the level of skill that the coach might be asking at that particular day is not challenging enough for you. And so you're bored. It's too easy. Some of you have high anxiety because the challenge is too much for you on that particular day. The coach is asking you to do things that you've maybe not only done a couple of times. Maybe you're in a game and the coach has asked you to beat the #1 team in the nation because you're playing them. Okay, that's the challenge. Or be a national champion might be the challenge. But it's creating anxiety amongst your teammates and yourself that you're not able to even perform at a basic level anymore. Pretty soon you're declining as an athlete. You're declining as a team. And it's usually because you don't spend enough time thinking about, is the skill I possess right now match the challenge I've set for myself? So I want you to ask yourself right now, what is the ultimate challenge you guys have as a team, or you as a person, intellectually as well as athletically? I know kids that say they're going to get a 4.0, and they go through high school miserable. Because their challenge was so much. I mean, that's great to have goals. But if it creates an anxiety state of yourself all the time, it's going to impact other areas of your life that are more important. Like how you treat people. Okay, your social emotional balance. So you guys got to figure out amongst yourself, athletically as well as academically, where are you? Are you in a state of flow where your challenges and skills match each other? The challenge of getting straight A's, maybe it shouldn't be that. Maybe it should be more about the challenge of just studying to the best of your ability every night, as time dictates. Maybe that's your challenge. Maybe your skill is such that, all right, on your team, that to ask yourself to be an all-American pitcher, or whatever it is your sport, might be a little too much of a challenge right now, all right, and you just need to adjust it. So you got to constantly tweak and find the balance of where you are academically and athletically, and continually ask yourself, where am I at? If I'm in a state of flow, that's that feeling when you're playing effortlessly. When you're playing to your best ability. It's that time when you walk into a test and you feel like the answers come before you even have to read the finishing line. Like it's just coming. Because you put yourself in a constant state of flow. Your anxiety wasn't there, and you're not, no anxiety. Although there's a little on test taking, there shouldn't be in sports. There should be a constant state of this. So the flow state is the mental side in which you are pulled forward by big goals, yet happy where you are now. And that's so critical. Are you happy where you are now? You have to be at peace with where you are now. So the mental game is just that. And I'll review real quick. Okay? It's what is your major goal? That's your why. Where's your why at right now? Do you understand where you want to be in the end? Do you see the finish line? You should have a picture of this. It should be bombarding your imagery and all around your room. Do you have goals? Do you visualize the goals? Are they there for you to see? Do you understand your why? Do other people understand your why? If other people understand your why, then they can help you with the how and the what that comes your way. How am I going to do this? Well, here's how. We're going to strategize. I failed my midterm. How do I pass the final? How do I get an A on this final? Well, I got to do something different this next time. So the 5 steps they give, all right, if you want to stay in a flow state. First is you got to learn how to breathe. So it's as simple as that. When you're really, and I teach this to 6-year-olds, guys. Take a deep breath, right? Take a deep breath. You take a deep breath in for 6, you hold it for 2, you exhale for 4. It's a 6-2-4. You can do all kinds of breathing strategies, but I promise you, if you learn to do this, whether it's athletically or academically, in times of stress, when you recognize the cue, all right, and that's usually when you're trying to flip a professor off in your brain, you want to fight your coach or a teammate, all right, those are the times you want to put together your breathing mechanism. What's it going to look like for you? You guys are smart kids, so I'm not going to teach you all the breathing styles, but I'm going to tell you they're all out there. YouTube breathing techniques, you'll see a bunch, and they do work, I promise you. They can help you in all facets, and you're going to learn, I call it the 4 T's, take time to think. It gives you the time to think and process before you react and do something, all right, that you might later regret. That's why you should never tweet or do anything emotional, right? Right when you're pissed. Although you can take stuff down, a lot of times it's your digital footprint these days, so you have to be mindful of that, because employers are looking at that now. The second one is, what are you grateful for? So right now, if I ask you, what are you grateful for? Could you tell me 20 things? 2 eyes, 2 ears, 10 fingers, right? Be pretty easy, but how often do we really consider that? The brain tells us that if we're grateful, it has no ability to be sad. It can't do both. So if you're sad, quick flip would be, what are you grateful for? I keep 2 pictures in my office all the time. No one really knows about them unless they ask about them. One is a picture of a family that was squashed by a beam that came over a road years ago, and it killed 3 people on the road that I drove on. Every single day to work. And this particular family was a guy that worked at a parish of a church, his wife and a 6-month-old daughter, and they just happened to be driving about 2 hours after I drove underneath that overpass. And there was a construction accident and went over and crushed them. And my other friend is a state patrolman. He was there first, and they were liquefied. The families were liquefied, which means there was no bodies. There was nothing left. So every day that I drive, I am immediately reminded of that when I see that picture. It's not to be sad, it's to be grateful. Like, that's a bad day. You know, what I'm going through is not nearly worth what I'm putting myself through. So I keep that picture there, and it's just a reminder. There's another young man named Cameron Kozai who got in our district, and he was a young man that lost a battle to DPIG, a certain cancer of the brain, and went through all kinds of stuff. And he was 16, and he never, ever stopped. All right, being positive with people. So I'm grateful to have known him, have those pictures, and then it helps me with my mental state when I'm going through what I'm going through. So who is it in your life that you can draw inspiration from to be grateful? I challenge you to have those images near you. Because as you're changing the habits of negativity, you're going to need strategies. The third strategy you're going to have is, what is the most successful time you've ever had in athletics? Tell the person next to you, what's the greatest accomplishment you've had athletically? It could be as an individual or as a team member. Tell the person next to you. Greatest accomplishment. You got a good one?
She does.
Thumbs up if you can replay one event in your life that was significant in where you are today. That moment helped shape where you are right now. Thumbs up if you have that moment. How many have been a part of some kind of championship in your life? Pretty cool feeling to go through that, correct? Makes you want more. So you know you can be successful. So the third strategy of being a mentally tough athlete is your ability to first, breathe. First, breathe. Remind yourself of the things you need to remind yourself of. Secondly, gratefulness. And that could be, I'm telling you, if I were a basketball player and I'm on the free throw line, I'm reminding myself to be grateful. And I'm on the foul line at the University of Puget Sound, I'm a college athlete, this is stinking awesome. Like if I could flip the switch to go there, immediately I'm happy. And I'd much rather shoot free throws happy than mad or upset. So that next piece is that. What happened? You guys know? No. Okay. Hopefully it comes back on. There we go. No? No? Okay. And then so we're just going through this whole process. I'm replaying past successes. When I'm on the bench or I'm going through something tough, I'm reminding myself of how good I could be. Thank you. How did I earn it? How did I earn the opportunity to get to UPS? Do I think it was hard work? Was it not hard work to get here? You guys have done lots of hard work. So you know what hard work means. You've done it already. And then finally, do you visualize the execution of your job? And in a flow state. So there was a guy named Eric Bridgen that used to be coach here, and he used to take our basketball team, and this is 2002 when I was coaching basketball with him, and we would go into the locker room each and every time, and what we would do is we'd turn off the lights and he'd read a visualization statement to our team. And then we would end with, we are champions, we practice and play like it every day. We said that 10 times in a row. We are champions, we practice and play like it every day. We are champions, we practice and play like it every day. We did that 10 times before every practice, or before we go out to practice and before games. When he got here, they were barely a 500 team. When he left here, they were a national championship contender. The thing he brought the most was that belief system, the visualizing, the getting the athletes all at once. See, he didn't do it separately with one teammate. It was all of us. And I never forget reading that statement, thinking this is the biggest cuckoo for Cocoa Puff thing I've ever done. Because he made me read it. And so I'm reading this like, we are performers. There's going to be a loose ball. We're going to get it. We're going to dive, get it, roll over, hit Curtis Medved for a layup. It was one of our players. I mean, it was so detailed. We're 26-2 that year. And the biggest thing we did was commit to the mentalization piece, those processes right there. So I told you about the 45% factor. 45% of everything you do is on autopilot. To create new habits, you have to do something as simple as, if you want to floss one tooth every day, a different tooth every day. Don't try and floss every day. That's too much. You can't do it. But you can tell yourself, I'm going to floss a tooth every day. And when you do the first tooth, chances are you're going to do 2, maybe even 3. But people don't floss because they get carried away with the whole idea that that's a lot of teeth and a lot of flossing, and that's a tough thing to do. I'd rather just go to the dentist and get a cavity filled. But if you want to change a habit, you want to add to the 45%, you need to factor in, if I'm going to work out, maybe it's just I'm going to lift one thing that day. I'm not going to lift for 45 minutes or an hour or go on a 20-mile run. I'm just going to walk one lap. I'm going to organize my stuff the night before. That's going to be the habit I change. What is that? That's pretty big. So I'm just going to make sure that my binder is in my book bag or that my planner is filled out. That's all I care about. That's how you add. That's why people can't lose weight and do all that, because they think they got to just do it all at once. They get discouraged and then they stop altogether. So if you want to change a habit, if you want to add to your habits and good ones, you have to start small. It's got to be super simple. And then you're eventually going to do more because you're already there. If you go to the gym and say, I'm just doing bicep curls today, chances are you're going to add to that because you're already there. And now you're building on a habit. Most athletes forget this. It's all about outcomes, opinions, results, and image, but you got to focus on the root, not the fruit. The root, not the fruit, is huge. So growth, actions, fundamentals, process. It's not practice, it's called process. You don't go to practice, that's too negative a connotation, but you go to process. I go there to process and get better so that the games become easier. That's why I'm in there. That's what I can control. So the law of attraction, this is the final thing I'm going to leave you with. If you want to be a leader on your team this year, and you're going to attract others, do this game, plus minus 0 to your friends. Plus is a friend that makes you better. A minus makes you worse, and a 0 is just there. They don't do either. You better have at least 5 plus friends. The law of attraction says that we become the sum of the 5 people we hang out with the most. So the 5 people you hang out with the most is probably the sum of what you're going to accomplish. So be mindful of who you hang out with. Okay, be mindful of that, and that's a stat. So grateful makes you feel good. When you feel good, you set goals. Once I have my goals, I visualize the goals over and over, and I slowly start to believe them through that process. And that's how goals are achieved. It's so simple, but yet so hard, because we get caught up here, we forget about this, and we don't feel good, and then we're pissed, and then life is harder. So when you go back to your dorms and you're thinking midterm, don't think midterm, think opportunity. Think process. Think means to an end. Think I've got this. I'm going to get through it. And I'm going to have friends around me that are going to help me do that. And while I'm in this shit together, alright, I use that word only once because it can be called shit sometimes. When you're in it and you don't know what to do and you're having the worst day, just serve other people. Just serve other people's needs. Whatever it is your friends need, your family needs, your coaches needs, if you just serve other people, life will be easy for you during that time. Okay? That's it. I hope you guys got a couple things out of it. 30 minutes is quick, but I'm around after this. If any of you have any comments or questions or want to talk further about more things you can do, but I want to be mindful of the time other people, you guys got things to do. So thanks for being here and choosing, and none of you fell asleep, so thank you.
So we have Brett down in 117, or we have Todd up here in 201.